Hello, everyone. I have no idea if I'm allowed to speak already. The boss is not here. There is no queue. But out of respect for everyone who came on time and also for the next speaker, I think maybe I could start. I'm Marta Siembab, and I will take up 45 minutes of your time. Thank you for coming to talk about the recent developments and implementations around scent and how they inspire change in different areas of our life. The whole presentation is divided into 3 sections, and the first one is emotions. When we think about emotions, you can see that the narrative around emotions in marketing and in brand communication is very strong. So it's becoming very mainstream. You will see that many projects around scent are initiated by and delivered by departments of psychology at various universities. And the first project I would like to show you is connected with love and dating. What happened in dating apps last year was really surprising, because the biggest dating app, I don't know if I can use names, so let me tell you, it's the most popular one. It starts with a T. They recorded a drop of 8% in their users, and in the United Kingdom alone, 800,000 people stopped using the app. And generally, most of the dating apps, they recorded a decline. People, especially from Generation Z, they don't want to meet online anymore. They started using analog opportunities to meet their potential partners. And it means that we, again, have the opportunity to smell each other. When we think back in history, it was more or less early 1700s, so the early 18th century, when a woman wanted to show a man that she was interested in him. When they were going to dance, she would slice an apple or a potato, depending on when she was living, and she would put the apple or potato under her armpits or under her breasts in her brassiere or her corset, to let the vegetable or the fruit infuse with the scent of her body. And then she would secretly slip this slice of apple into the hand of the man she was interested in, so that he could both smell her and taste her. And the question was, it was a question that inspired researchers in Macquarie University in Sydney, Australia. Is it possible to smell out, to sniff out a single person? When we think about applications that allow you to start a conversation with a person that is nearby without risking rejection, so you can text them without even looking them in the eye, even though you are in the same room, maybe we could start, thank you so much, that's me. Maybe you could start initiating contact with people by making sure that they are single. So apparently men who are single smell stronger than men who are already in a relationship. And it's very often due to higher levels of testosterone. You know that testosterone and other sex hormones can be smelled through our sweat via apocrine glands. And men who are available for mating, they also, this is how females interpret their smell. Their resources are available. So women can subconsciously smell which man is single and is available, and his resources are available. Interestingly, it doesn't mean that the scent of the single man is more attractive. It only means that you can smell it more intensely. So next time someone chats you up on the metro, if it still happens, you can just inhale a little bit deeper and check if you can smell the body of the man. If you can, there is a chance that he is available and you can take your shot. So if we can sniff out someone who is single and available, can we sniff out depression? But this is not what you think. Research around the changes in the smell of sweat of people who are clinically depressed, we have already seen such studies and we already have knowledge around it. What was interesting in the studies I want to quote was whether being anxious, so having clinical anxiety and depression, does it make us more sensitive to the smells around us? And it turns out that people who have problems with anxiety and they are battling an anxiety disorder, they are more sensitive to smells from two groups. First of them is the smells of nature, especially flowers, and also smells of cooking, smells of food. Whereas people who are depressed, they were more sensitive to the smell of human body. And interestingly, they were more interested in judging or qualifying the scents. So people who are clinically depressed, they tend to be more sensitive to the way people smell in their natural way. I don't mean perfumes, I mean the natural body odor. And they very quickly would make a decision in their mind whether the scent is attractive or unattractive. Is it a good smell or a bad smell? And psychologists are really interested in how our nose helps us regulate our emotions. And I think 2 years ago I presented a project with, it was sponsored by the American military and the American government, where virtual reality was used to help people, especially veterans with PTSD, to control the reaction to olfactory stimuli and to decode the reaction to specific smells. We can also see projects in which dogs are trained to sniff out specific molecules that appear in human sweat when they are in distress. So people who suffer from diagnosed PTSD, they can be assigned a service dog that is trained in smelling the molecules that appear in sweat and breath when there is a PTSD attack, so as to say, coming. Before flashbacks appear, the dog can alert the owner to the change in the smell and help them implement coping strategies. So when a person is in therapy and they are taught by the therapist how to manage their stress, the dog can alert them that this is the time to do it. And interestingly, it happens soon enough before the attack that the person can actually start doing something for them. So the connection between scent and mood is very much in focus, both in marketing, in sales, but also in research, so you will see more examples of it during today's presentation. And sleep quality. Many years back, I think maybe 15, I was taking part in a project where we would educate parents of little children up to the age of 3 how they can regulate the children's emotions using the smell of the bodies of the parents, especially the mother. And there was also a commercial project where tiny teddy bears would be made they were made like fully with fabric, and the mother would cuddle the bear or sleep with the bear for a couple of days and then just give it to the baby. So for example, if the baby was left with another carer or in daycare or in a crèche and the child would exhibit distress, they could get the teddy bear that smelled like mom and they could relax. And stress levels, so the level of cortisol was measured in saliva, and we could see that it really works. So the study in sleep quality that was carried out in Italy at the University of Padova, they checked how much the smell of our partner can influence the quality of sleep. So what they did was they made pillowcases. Each participant got 2 pillowcases to sleep on 2 consecutive days. One of them was made with a t-shirt that was previously worn by their partner, and the other one was made with a t-shirt that was worn by a random stranger. And it turns out that the smell of a loved one placed under our head influences our sleep significantly. When you look at the numbers, you may think that this is not so much because the increase of quality of sleep was reported at 2%, but it's higher than the increase of quality of sleep reported after using oral melatonin supplements. So when you think you can avoid taking supplements or medicating yourself only by sleeping on a t-shirt of somebody you love, especially when they snore and you can't sleep with them in one bed, so it can help you fall asleep sooner, so the sleep onset time was reduced, and it can also help you sleep deeper. The depth of sleep and the quality of sleep will be discussed later, because this is very much in focus. I think you know that blue light stimulates our nervous system in such a way that we have problems falling asleep. We very often wake up at 3-4 a.m. With the cortisol peak in our body. It's very difficult to fall back asleep, and researchers are trying to find a way through our nose to help us sleep deeper and better. I really liked learning about this project. It's called Digital Incense. To be honest, I'm not sure if the word digital incense is 100% fair. There is a digital element and an incense element involved, but the incense itself is very much real and physical. But this is a project from Macau Polytechnic University in China. And this is a project that is more of an ethnographic study and a project that focuses on education. The artist and researcher, Mei Kei Lai, she decided to educate young people in how they can use scent to navigate their emotions and to modulate their emotions. So she created a station that is built with 3 elements. There is an incense hub in which you have a selection of different types of incense, and this is real incense. And then there is a VR set that gives you both visual and sound stimuli. But what is different from other projects involving VR is that it inspires stillness. So the artist encourages you to sit still and not move at all during the whole experience. And you're supposed to choose an incense of your liking. The incense starts burning, and you can immerse yourself in a visual and oral landscape and just sit without moving for a couple of minutes, inhaling the smell of incense, containing molecules that stimulate the piriform cortex, which influences the speed of our breath and heartbeat. And you can look at things that make you calmer. So both the sounds, the smells, and what you see, and also the fact that you are not moving, allows you to relax and to reduce the level of stress. She is also running workshops where she educates young people how olfaction works and how you can use the smell and also elements of culture, because you know that generally in Asia incense is very popular, and burning plants and elements of plants for fragrant smoke, for different rituals, meditation, self-soothing rituals is very popular. So we can say that this is both a VR meditation and an art installation that encourages stillness and using all the senses to slow down and to transform the way you feel in a more conscious way. Oh, lemons are my favorite fruit. My dentist hates it because I eat lemons like I would apples. And I'm always happy to be in Italy because lemons here are amazing. And limonene, of course, limonene is not only derived from lemons, but I think lemons are a great symbol for this amazing molecule. Limonene is very much in focus right now in agriculture. I know agriculture is not really discussed very often here, so let me tell you about how limonene can save crops and how it can inspire cleaner agriculture. Limonene is the molecule that makes lemons smell like lemons. Of course, it's not the only one, but this is the lemony thing that we smell when we peel citrus. And limonene is a molecule that disrupts the hormonal system and the olfactory system of plant hoppers. Plant hoppers are insects that destroy many crops, especially rice, and they hate limonene. When there is limonene present, the plant hoppers, they cannot mate and they can't and lay eggs. So this is what we want. We want the plant hoppers not to have sex, and we use limonene to do it. And how can we do it? Well, we can do it from the outside and the inside. The first way is simply to spray plants with essential oils containing limonene. So we have environmentally friendly, clean and green pesticides, but we can also engineer the genetics of rice to be able to produce limonene on its own. So we will have rice that emits limonene. So imagine rice that smells like lemons. There is also another way, namely intercropping rice with other plants that emit molecules of limonene to keep the insects away. And I was really touched by this project because it's so clean, it's so simple, and it shows us that something that other species, such as humans, consider positive, can be hated and the nemesis of other species of animals. And limonene is very much in focus of scientists researching cognition, because it makes us more ready to enter so-called alpha state of the brain, where we can be more alert and focus on solutions. So this is like the state of mind in which we are creative. We are focused, our mood also goes up, and limonene increases, I'm sorry, I didn't mean increases, it decreases the tension in muscles of the neck and back. So you can use limonene to relax your muscles or to aid stretching exercises. It's a very cheap molecule to produce, and I'm hoping to see many solutions involving limonene in the coming years. There are many studies that are used also in a commercial setting, and cosmetic brands are also focusing on how we can make functional fragrances with limonene, because the way limonene influences our nervous system is researched and it's documented. So we can make claims that can really be supported by science. The next section is a focus on health, and of course the things I have mentioned so far, they also focus on health, but these are a little bit more medical. And the first thing I would like to mention is a project from University of Irvine in California. They checked how allowing us to inhale scents during sleep influences our cognition. There was a study 2 years ago started in New York that checked how we can influence the way we dream with scents that we inhale when we are sleeping. There haven't been any results, so I still don't know how to program a specific dream in my head, like skiing in the Alps or, you know, dating Jason Momoa on the beach. Maybe one day we will be able to do it. But this study checked how the fact that we sleep deeper influences our memory. And it was an extraordinary finding. When we inhale specific scents during our REM phase of sleep, we can record, and let me have a look at the number. Yes, it's 226% increase in memory. So we can remember things much better only by inhaling specific scents. The study doesn't reveal which kind of scent, so I think it's also a company secret. For 2 hours for 6 months. You can think that, oh my God, I need to wait 6 months for results, but you will be sleeping anyway. So why not just have the scent accompany you when you sleep to experience the increase in cognitive function and in memory. Also in functional MRI, researchers could see that there was an increased activity in a part of brain that it's called the uncinate fasciculus. This is a pathway that leads from the olfactory brain to the prefrontal cortex and is connected with cognition and memory. And when we think about we see many projects that reach out further, and of course they involve science, but they also want to educate and encourage just people, the regular people, the general public, to experiment with scent. So the researchers call the project olfactory enrichment, and they encourage people to focus on smelling essential oils for 30 minutes a day for 3 months. And it shows neurogenesis in specific parts of the brain, especially the hippocampus, which, as you know, is responsible for memory, and the amygdala, where our emotions are born. So the idea of olfactory enrichment is mindful experience of essential oils for 30 minutes a day over, it was 3 months, and it was recorded that there are new cells in very important parts of our brain. And when it comes to scent and sleep, when people started thinking about how machines dispersing scent can be used to enhance cognition and also influence sleep, those machines were really big. So they would be bigger than shoeboxes, and they would be put next to the bed. They were often noisy because they would need a fan to disperse the scent, and often the sound of the device would prohibit people from falling asleep. But tiny wearables can be used to analyze the contents of the air, and we can see that the devices are becoming smaller and smaller. Very soon, I think we can expect wearables that will not be bigger than the thing you can see in the photo. It's really tiny if you can hold it between 2 fingers. And there are 3 interesting projects. So far they are just prototypes, but we are looking for further developments of them. The first one is called Essence, and this is a tiny olfactometer that can detect specific molecules in the air, and it can alert you that those molecules are present. What is important is that Essence can also be connected to a wearable EEG device. So this is like a little tiara you put on your head when you go to sleep, and it measures the electric activity of your brain. And depending on which stage of sleep you are in, it sends a specific signal, so an olfactory signal to the brain to help you get deeper into the phase. Especially researchers are interested in the phase where memory consolidation takes place. I think you know that lavender and rose are essential oils that can make the memory consolidation stronger. So whenever you need to learn something, for example, for a test or a speech or a presentation, it's good to have rose oil diffused in your room before you go to sleep, because during sleep, without you actively taking part in memorizing new information, it will be consolidated into your brain. And those 2 ideas that I will present in a second, they are not quite new. Sadly, they haven't really been implemented, so maybe they need an investor. One of them was, it was called O-Phone, and it was an idea that your phone can give you tags, olfactory tags to messages you receive. So imagine that you have a specific person. I guess most of you have a separate sound for a notification from your loved ones. So whenever somebody you love messages you, very often they will have a different ringtone or a different signal. But what if we could have a different scent for a message from our mom or our partner or our kids, and you could not only hear or see that they are writing you or calling you, but you could also smell it. The application was called O-Phone, also allowed tagging messages or pictures. So for example, if you are out eating lunch and you are having a great meal and you would like the person to smell it, you could tag this message with a keyword, and the keyword would trigger a scent on the receiver's end. Of course, what it needs is a tiny device attached to the phone, both of the person who sends the message and the one who receives it, because since they are physical beings, so they cannot be transported for long distances, and they don't appear magically out of thin air. But if two people have this device, you can also message each other using scent. And there was one more. It was called Senti, which gives scent notifications, and it was a very interesting project because it was analyzed by the automotive industry, whether scent notifications can inform drivers of important events without engaging their vision. I think you've seen many movies in which there was a horrible accident 1 second after someone looked at the smartphone, or they wanted to change, I don't know, the music on their playlist. They just diverted their gaze from the road for a split second, and bad things happened. Apparently, scent notifications, they are perceived as more engaging but less distracting. So there are projects in which they are researching how we can alert the driver to specific things happening in the car or on the road, or maybe weather information by using scent, so that the driver can keep his or her hands on the wheel and and remain focused on the road. Also, this project researches how we can mark urgency of messages. So when you receive a really urgent notifications, it can also be signaled with scent. And the company that came up with NEOS, this is the name of the handheld olfactometer, is a very, very well-known company in France in olfactory research. They are called Aribal, and they came up with a very novel way to detect fakes. Services that can check whether your designer bag or your designer shoes are not counterfeit, and if they are made with specific raw materials, they can have their own olfactory profile, and the electronic nose can check if this product is not a fake. So I mentioned this project 2 years ago, and last year NEOS came up with a small handheld device that can be used at home for safety reasons. So when we imagine people who, for example, have a movement disability, and they can't move from one part of the house or the apartment to another, so they cannot detect danger. For example, that there is something burning in the kitchen, or maybe that the food is expired. When we have perfectly working hearing, vision, taste and smell, we often don't think how much we would miss if one of the senses was not working properly. So when we think about patients who have cognitive problems, who are intellectually impaired, they very often don't know how to judge whether they can still eat or drink something, and this little device can simply analyze and look for specific molecules in the air and tell us if this food is safe to eat. Same for cosmetics. I think you have also seen that some of the cosmetics, especially those that contain alcohol or are really greasy, when you touch the packaging, very often the expiry date simply gets damaged and you can't see anymore how long ago, you don't remember how long ago you bought it, or you can see if it's still good to use, and NEOS can help you analyze the chemical components of cosmetic to show you that if there is a certain molecule present, you shouldn't be using the product. So they are thinking of implementing this with people with anosmia, so of course people who don't have the sense of smell for various reasons, but also with dementia, with neurodegenerative illnesses, physical disabilities and blindness. This is a very hopeful project. It comes from the University of Indiana in the United States, and it focuses on the way our metabolites smell when we have problems with our intestines. So generally the GI tract, with the stomach, the esophagus, and the intestines. The United States are battling an obesity epidemic, and there is a very difficult area of people screening for GI diseases, not just stomach cancer or colon cancer, but many different diseases of the stomach and the intestines that can also be a result of poor diet, of bad lifestyle choices. So there is a way to detect specific molecules in the smell of stool, depending on the severity of the disease. So when we think about tests like colonoscopy and gastroscopy, they are very invasive, they are painful, uncomfortable, they are time-consuming, and they are also costly. But we can use olfactometers to check for specific molecules in the breath, but also in our stool, to see if there is something wrong going on with the microbiota in our GI tract. Because whenever there is a dysbiosis, whenever there is an imbalance in the bacteria that live naturally in our GI tract, there is a specific smell. We can smell it with the nose, or maybe we don't know how to interpret the data, but the data is available, and we can use this kind of screening in a non-invasive way. So hoping that patients will be more open to analyze the smell of their GI tract at home, and then contact the doctor if there is a signal that something is not right. So dysbiosis is very often the first signal that something is going on, and also the prodrome of cancer. Even though we cannot see cancer in imaging techniques, we can smell the cancer. So not we, but the machine can smell the cancer. So this is very hopeful. It's a relatively cheap and non-invasive solution. I'm looking at the ruthless clock that is ticking for me, so I think I need to speed up a little. Ants can be used to detect cancer, and this is not science fiction. Ants are very avid learners. We know that dogs can be trained to sniff out cancer, especially lung cancer and the air that we breathe out. But ants are much quicker to train, much cheaper to train, and it takes only a couple of sessions to teach an ant to associate a specific smell with a reward. So ants are very eager to learn, and ants are almost everywhere. If we can think of training ants in countries where access to medical care is very limited, if we could train them globally to let people know that there is something going on in their breath, then it would be a very, very cheap and revolutionizing solution to help people detect lung cancer without even having to take them to hospital for a scan. And we may think that this is funny to train insects to show if there is something wrong with us, but for me it's a beautiful example of how we need each other, and that a tiny ant, we very often treat ants and insects in general as pests, and when we think about ants in the household, we usually want to get rid of them. We look for ways of getting rid of them. What if you could have a tiny colony of ants at home that will tell you that you need to visit the doctor? It changes the perspective in an interesting way. The last section is a focus on innovations, and I was happy to see this project because it's rooted in empathy. Of course, it's a commercial project, and I wish the person who came up with it, it's Dr. Jenny Tillotson. She got the UK Design Award and grant last year, so I hope it will be implemented and available on the market very soon. The project is rooted in empathy, and I think you have noticed that in the past years, scents have become ubiquitous. Everything has a scent, and everybody has a scent. Sometimes we have this need to just, detach ourselves from things that are scented, and we want to stay away from things that smell. It's not always possible, but what if we changed the perspective and thought that scent is for me to experience, and other people can experience it with me when they make a decision, so we wouldn't assault each other's senses with scent. Scent Bubble is a tiny wearable device that uses a low alcohol solvent to create little puffs of air containing scent, and the range of the scent bubble is not larger than a foot, so more or less 30 centimeters. And it can be paired with different devices, with VR goggles, but also with our smartphones, and we can program an application that is connected to the scent bubble to send scent directly to our nose whenever we wanted. So if you want to listen to a favorite song, or if you want to look at pictures from your holidays last year, and you want to smell something, this tiny wearable device will emit scent that will stay just in your private space, in your intimate space, because normally we don't allow strangers to approach us at the distance of 30 centimeters. It's very, very intimate, and the whole project is based on the idea that scent is something intimate, and we can experience scent in a very private way using a wearable. The creator also hopes that the fashion industry and the accessory industry will take up the idea of the scent bubble, because we can easily see it implemented in jewelry, in clothes as element of clothing, or just a gadget that you wear that also has a functional role. We know that electronic noses exist. I discussed a couple of them in this presentation, but what is interesting is a hybrid of biological noses, so noses, not only human olfaction, but also coming from other species, and electronics. So an electronic nose is a device that is a combination of proteins coming from cells, also from olfactory cells, from humans, but also other animals, and an electronic chip. And what is interesting about bioelectronic noses is that they learn much quicker than just the machine, but they don't get as tired as a human nose does. So you will probably see at the end of the day that your nose will be completely numb. The number of, oh my God, the oranges. Is someone peeling oranges in the audience, or a mandarin? Oh my God. Beautiful. I got hungry. So well done, mission accomplished. And bioelectronic signals can be then translated by software and put into specific commands. So far, it's just in clinical trials and stages that have not yet been implemented in things we can buy. But as you can see also from household electronics, those things are becoming smaller and cheaper. So I think in a couple of years, it will be something that we can purchase for our own personal use. My Aura is a tiny device. So here we can see it's branded for a specific brand, and it was used in a promotion project for a specific fragrance. But generally, it's a device that allows you to experience fragrance and to apply fragrance when without touching. And it's designed for people with upper limb amputations, or with people who have reduced mobility. All you need to do is to approach the machine, and the sensor will give you a puff of fragrance, and you can apply it to different areas of the body. So imagine people who, for example, have Parkinson's disease, or who have some myodystrophies. They can't use their hands in such a way that would allow them to, open a bottle of perfume and press the nozzle. You can simply approach the device, and it will spray the fragrance to the part of the body you choose from. It's also very hygienic. So when we think about those contactless and touchless ways of applying fragrance, My Aura is the way to do it. Aroma Shooter was presented at the end of last year. It's a Japanese invention. It's a wearable that you put around your neck. I know it doesn't really look like a necklace. It looks like something you would wear on your head, but you wear it you can put it on your clavicles. And it consists of 8 cartridges with scent, and it can be combined with videos you watch, and even YouTube videos. It doesn't have to be a specific video. With films, with music, with art installations, and it uses ambient air to push the air through those little cartridges with scent. So don't worry, it will not spray anything on your face. It will not release any kind of mist or anything like this. So the scent is already present. It's like a tiny sponge, and whenever air is pushed through it, it's directed straight at your nose, so you can inhale the scent and then have a richer experience of whatever you are watching or listening to. It can be pre-programmed, and the scents, the cartridges cartridges contain various scents, starting with the smell of freshly brewed coffee, or freshly baked bread, or fresh linen, cut grass. They are mostly scents that put us in a good mood, but there is also a smell of wet concrete or burning rubber. So I guess specific video games can benefit from this kind of enrichment. And it's very accurate. It delivers the scent to the nose at 0.1 second accuracy. So the scent really appears whenever an image or a sound appears. This is very novel because when we think about the installations for home videos, before the scent would travel from the device to your nose, the scene would already be over. But this one, because it's close to your nose, allows you to experience it in real time. And last but not least, this futuristic device was created by Revorn, and as you can see, it allows you to translate image to scent. It analyzes the photo that is displayed on your mobile device by looking at shapes, colors, and textures, and creates a mixture of different olfactory information to create a full olfactory experience. It has 8 cartridges that can be combined in over 60,000 different combinations to give you a nuanced experience of whatever you are looking at. So you can think about watching, again, photos from a trip you took, or you can imagine now swiping through a dating app and looking at the photos with a scent message to it, which brings us back to the first information that we can sniff out single guys. And tada, I'm not late, so I'm happy I could deliver this presentation in time, and I'm really glad to see you here. Thank you for coming and spending this time with me. Thank you so much. The applause goes to you. If you have any questions, I will be here all day, every day, so just find me and let's talk. Thank you so much.